guys, what's going on? Today we answer a question. Interesting question. What gear have you owned? So you purchased it, you sold it, and then you bought it again. So I'm gonna break this into two types. Gear I have legitimately purchased, sold, and bought again, versus I bought it, I sold it, and I regret it, and I want it again. So first up, guitar-wise, had a Chris Shiflett Telecaster. I had a white one. I sold it, and I bought a Shoreline gold one. And some time passed, but I missed it. It was a solid guitar. When I got it the second time, I changed everything I wanted to from the first time that I didn't do, which I just should have done, but you know how these things go. So there's one. I've had two Gibson SG Faded models from like 2004, 2005, maybe. I don't remember the year. But I had that Gibson SG Faded. That was the first time I could actually afford a Gibson, and that's what it was. Years later, and I think it was last year actually, I purchased a newer one, a Gibson SG Faded from Musician's Friend, and it was not what I expected, and I returned it. I think one of my favorite tones on record is Taking Back Sunday's stuff, where that dude, Fred, used Gibson SG Fadeds all the time with 490 pickups. And honestly, I hate that pickup, but it worked for what they did in the mix. I thought it was really great. It was like that sound, and he used it consistently to it became that tone for everything. But I'm not Fred. I couldn't make it work. But I did technically own that model twice. And it was basically the same guitar except for the inlay, so it's the same guitar. Guitar-wise, I think that's it. I don't think I purchased, sold, and purchased again anything else. That's probably it. Now, models, like similar like Telecasters, yeah. I feel like Telecasters and Les Pauls, SGs, you can buy the same model years later, and it's just different pickups. Like every 10 years, they just change what they're putting in them. Gibson, I think, has had identity crisis the last, 6-7 years, where the standard has 57s in it, but the standard has burst buckers in it. And this year, the standard has different burst buckers in it. Now it's pros, now it's 1s and 2s, now it's 2s and 3s. Then they start inventing new ones. Here's the 61. Anyway, amp-wise, the Marshall Silver Jubilee, the 2525H, I have purchased, I have sold, and I have bought again. And I might sell it again. I don't know. I really like the amp, but I don't like the amp. And the 2555X is just, it's got to be the loudest Marshall I have ever played. It sounds really good, but you got to get it like all the way up to get it to be like, you know, that sound you want. It's super loud. So the 20-watt version was a good compromise. Again, bought, sold, bought. Pedal-wise, ironically, it's a bass pedal. It is the Mad Professor Blueberry Bass Overdrive. I bought it off my brother-in-law, I sold it, and then I bought it again. And that was because I was recording something, and I thought, oh man, I used that pedal before, and it sounded really good. So I bought it again to record with it. Because I'm not a bass player. I don't even know that I'm a guitar player. So another pedal that I bought and sold and bought again very similarly. It's not the same exact thing, but like I had the big 4-spot alter ego, and I sold it, and I missed it because it was very basic and it was just easy to use. So I picked up the small one. It's an honorable mention to what we're talking about. I think that's it for stuff that I have legitimately purchased, sold, and purchased again. Now, stuff I purchased, sold, regret, and want to buy again, totally different thing. Where do we start? A Thin Line 72 Telecaster. I'd probably buy another one of those. I've only tried the Mexican ones, and they felt a little funky. I'd like to try an American. I don't know if it would feel any nicer or sound any better. I'd love to try some maybe different aftermarket pickups that are based on wide range 72s and pop them in a 72 Thin Line and see where we go. That's a different thing. Friedman Runt 50, I think I'd buy that again. Or Mesa Stiletto. I had an Ace. I'd probably get a Deuce this time, but all I can find is like Tridents, and I don't need 150 watts. That just sounds insane. And both of those amps sit higher in the mix like a Marshall does, and they're just very easy to mix when you're doing guitars. So that's probably why I want them, because I can move through stuff faster. Those are pretty sweet. I'd probably buy those again. Oh, pedal-wise, two pedals I would definitely buy again. The Strymon L-Cap and the Strymon Flint. I have the big three and the Volante. I am guilty of that. The L-Cap does this thing where it's very cappy and it sounds great. I really like that pedal. I did a lot of experimentation when I got into Strymon. I found myself actually just playing and enjoying guitar and creating stuff versus just like demoing and moving through gear like, you know, you're eating candy. I really like that pedal. And the Flint too. The only thing that I would say about both of those pedals is why they were eventually sold is because I could dial in 99% of the tone into one of the other pedals. So into the Timeline or Big Sky, I could get very similar reverb tones and like tape delays out of the other pedals. And truthfully, that's what could happen to the Volante too, where I could probably get some of those tones in one of those boxes, probably the Timeline, but I haven't had time to like sit down and just like fiddle and play and like enjoy myself a little bit. So that's like a different thing, but I would definitely pick those two pedals up again. And I don't know. At some point I added a Strymon dig to my board, and it does something that the Timeline can't do, in my opinion, so it has stayed. The problem with the smaller Strymon pedals is that I want more than what I have available. So in other words, I wish the Flint could have 10 different settings, because I would buy a Flint and have like 10 different settings, because it had tremolo and it had reverb. And it was amazing. And the El Cap's the same way, where you want different settings for stuff, but I'm not going to change it on the fly, and I hate how the interface with the Volante is with the Favorite. I don't like that at all. But I grew up using single pedals, so it makes sense, and it's very easy to like just turn a knob and you get something. It's like an amp or a guitar. The big three, you're constantly tweaking, and you can save them down, which is great, but I don't feel like it's the same interaction. And maybe it's me. It's probably a mental thing, but I like both of those pedals. Oh, I'd probably buy another Mesa Roadster, a Roadster for years, and actually a Rectiverb 50. Okay, so I guess amps I would buy again. Mesa Stiletto, but I'd get a Deuce instead of an Ace. Freeman Run 50, a Mesa Rectiverb 50. I had the 112 combo, and I used an extension 112 cab with it, and it was huge, and I loved it. And it was easy to get around because it was just a combo and a 112. I could just kind of roll in with my amp. I can do it myself and not break my back, right? Mesa Roadster is like a ridiculous amount of amp for the money. They were super expensive when they came out. You can probably get them for $1,000 now, and I keep watching them on Reverb. Mentally, I have to get my head around, like, I own that. I sold it. Why would you buy it again? You sold it for a reason. Well, the reason I sold the Mesa Roadster and the Rectiverb was because I left the band I was in for years, had kids. I couldn't play a 100-watt half stack in the house. Now I can. I want it back. That's a little insane, right? Maybe we shouldn't be talking about this. It's just going to cost me money. Or I'm going to sell something and then regret that later. Yeah, those are the 4 amps. And I always battle with Vox too. Damn AC30. But see, if I can get like those breakup tones from stuff, I go, oh, I don't need that. I don't need that AC30. I'll play that tone on my Dirty Shirley. That's where this comes from. It's like, oh, I can get this sound from that. You dial in the reverb from the Flint onto the Big Sky and you go, oh, it's on the Big Sky. I've got it. I'm 99% there. I can sell the Flint. Sell the Flint, play the Big Sky while I go, man, I missed the Flint. Crap. I recorded this video once and it was like 20 minutes and I was like, I didn't feel like editing 20 minutes. And now I'm already at 13, which I'm sure I'll edit down, but it's a great question and it's obviously something I want to talk about, but it's a really long topic for me apparently. And I'm long-winded, so that doesn't help. Guitar-wise, I think we should jump back to there. So, interestingly enough, SGs, Explorers, Flying Vs, and Firebirds are weak spots for me, and the only ones I seem to keep are Firebirds. My first guitar was a Stratocaster, which I also battle with those too, but I love SGs, but I'm a bigger dude, and SGs just feel so small, and they're just small, and I can't deal with it. So I sell it. I would love like an old like 60s SG Custom, the 3 pickup one. I'd like to think if I got one of those, I'd not sell it. I'd probably sell it. I love looking at them. I think that's the thing. I just like looking at them and I like the idea of me playing them, but then I don't like seeing me with them and then I sell it. Like this shirt, I don't even know that I like this shirt, but it's there and I put it on and here we are. So Firebirds. I love Firebirds. In recent years, they started cutting a lot of the wood out of the Firebirds. Like the cheaper ones are more like the really nice Firebird 5s or the Vs or whatever you call them. They feel like, again, it's the whole like, it's a thin guitar and I'm afraid I'm going to break it. And I don't think I'm going to break it, but it feels, because it's lighter, it feels cheaper to me. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like PRS, man. Ugh. They are pretty guitars. I'm so big. And I keep saying I'm big, but like it feels tiny for me to hold. Like it just doesn't. Like a friend of mine has a bunch of PRS guitars. She's a very good guitar player. I borrowed one from her one day. Like, I'm twice her size. Like, I pick up her guitar and I play it, and it's all the way up here, and I can play it, and I'm good. But as soon as I put it down, like, into the position I would play it in, because honestly, I could have like 3 of them on my body, and it wouldn't bother me at all. And they don't really seem to neck dive, so they would actually stay exactly where they're supposed to be. And they're very pretty. They make some of the prettiest guitars, but I don't like double cuts, and they're just small. I'm totally off topic. But yeah, I love SGs, Explorers Vs, and Firebirds. When you're in a studio environment, you can have and play whatever you want. And I think that's the thing. It's like, I'm in a totally different mode than I was years ago. Years ago, I had tops of like 3 to 5 guitars at any time. My Roadster half stack, and I had my other combo Mesa. And that was it. I mean, I went through pedals quite regularly. Then I stopped playing out so much, and I get in here and I build a studio, and it's just like gas takes over, and I got a space to play stuff. So I just start playing everything, buying anything I can get my hands on. You just accumulate so much stuff that you get this tone from this amp, guitar, effect, whatever it is, and you sell the other thing. So if it's like a one-trick pony that you can get somewhere else, you just sell it. And that's the mode I've been in for like a long time. And I started playing out again. I did the church thing for a little bit, but playing in a group, I want a very similar sound all the time. I started selling down some stuff because it helps me narrow my focus a little bit. It just becomes a different thing. You can buy and sell gear all day long, but it does mess with you mentally a little bit. That's why I like the question. And I know I've went off a tangent here, but I think I answered it for the most part. But yeah, there are certain pieces where you go, oh man, that was a really great amp or guitar. You just buy it again, man. Like, amps are more consistent and effects are more consistent. Guitar itself is special and unique. Like, I've played 5 of the exact same model guitar. They all weigh differently. They all sound slightly different. One might be brighter, one might be darker. And one of the 5 is going to speak to you. Not all 5 are going to do that. I can understand where if you get a really good one and you think, shh, I need to buy that again. Like, just do it. I'm going to stop now, but I hope that answers your question. And if you have any questions, leave them below. As always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Many more videos to come. Don't miss one sub.